All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am the Grinch. Today we're going to be doing a Pimp My Arc for XXX ZombieFox. He's on server 1397. I appreciate you showing up, ZombieFox, letting us look into your arc. Hopefully, getting us. Hopefully, we can help you out, give you some advice on some direction. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to showing you guys off my fun almost 200 million power Nemesis arc.
Awesome. So before we actually get started, because this is slightly different, do you want to do a quick rundown on what you mean by a nemesis arc so people know?
So Nemesis arc, zombie arc, a lot of them have the different discussions that one there, but more or less it means I use either a smaller amount of troops and have it set up so that way if I'm zeroed, I can run without shield without ever really worrying about losing troops. Um, Usually smaller marches, but they're much more like tactile marches. If you want to think of it, instead of coming in with like a big sledgehammer, I'm more of a scalpel. I can do a lot of damage very effectively with a very small amount of troops rather than having a full march with a big commander and doing broad strokes.
All right, sweet. Neva, Bane, them, you guys want to take it away?
All
First,
right, so Zombie, let's go ahead and take a look at your columns, man. Let's see. I've never really done a PMA on a Nemesis arc, so I'm actually this is going to be a learning experience for me too, I guess you could say. So let's take a look at them, see what we run. What does a Nemesis arc run? Let's see.
my primary commander that I have is my bullet on there. Started off running bullet when I first started the game off. Loved his style, loved his abilities of being able to just use tier one troops and kill tier 12, kill those top big guys and stuff like that. So this is my bullet right now. What I'm running on him. I am running the Broken Fortress on him. That was a fun one that pick up for him, but definitely been worth it
Okay.
on there. High leadership on him. Usually I run the higher leadership specifically on him when I'll run like just a single slot of tier one troops. You just slot one. I wanted to just send him in just to try to help, punch damage. Or I know I'm going to lose, so throw as much damage as I can out there before that slot two comes in and counter shots and then wipes my troops out. On there for him. He's my primary one with like pretty much 99% of my leadership that I have across my whole arc into him. Secondary troop is going to be my sister wolf on there. Normally I run
Okay.
her with this is like my Reinhardt setup countering gear, the trigger headgear, trigger pants on there just to get that steam cannon triggering more. Only 4,888 leadership on her. I don't even use that much. I use 300, I think, leadership, maybe 400 leadership, honestly. I forget how much tier 6 troop Walker is, or tier 6 or tier 12 airship. I forget how much leadership it takes for that one there, but that's really the only leadership I need for that one there for her.
Okay.
Uh, bounce around with her. She's my primary, like my sweet commander, my counter commander and stuff for that one there. Um, Hancock on there. I am working on getting up. I'm um, 1 point short on my absolute suppression. I literally just need one more, and then I can max out that one there. But I'm working on him with making him a 100% tier suppression. He is effectively my tile clear. I throw six tier 12 walkers on him, toss him out of the tile. Majority of the time, I'll get the victor on that one there and have
Okay.
him come, send him out, have him come back. Stella, I primarily use for like the dual blade effects on her, or I'll use sleep bomb. Another one I'll use with my Swee gear on there. And a lot of it's just, depending on what commander I'm fighting, what gear they're using on there. Um, if I can shut them down with, running Stella with 100%, which she is 600% awoken on that one there. If I can run her with 100% 600% dodge with dual blades
Mhm.
to be that counter and stuff for it. A lot of my commanders are specifically set up for, you know, who I'm fighting, what gear they have to be that counter on that one there. My last slot, it bounces around right now. I've ran Mysterious War on that slot before, especially for like the dual blades on him. I am working on getting him up just for on that chance that they're running canes. I can still have that chance of countering them
Okay.
on there. For I have also run, what's his name? I've also run Full Metal on there. Um, I've done him before on there before. I got Awaken him, but it was on the odd chance I needed to have that steam cannon and sonar at the same time, especially with running T11 walkers with power of walkers on, or power not T11 infantry with power of infantry with power shot, because I can make them that ramp up commander even with running steam cannon sonar on them. I can still ramp up that damage and, you know, wipe full slots with single troops.
All right.
So yeah,
And
that
next we
good.
would normally go to like what type of tech we got going on right now. We take a
Uh,
look at that. Are we at the T12, T10? What are you?
so like you want to look at my research, or
I
you
don't.
like
Yeah, I don't
the?
know how. Let's look at the research. I don't know how.
I
I don't know how
can show,
Nemesis
I
Arc
can
is set
show
up.
I can show you the research stuff like that. If you want to see the basic, like the default research, a lot of those are maxed out for what I need. Click on that on there for everyone. I honestly stopped doing walkers once I got to a certain point because I just didn't need them
Yeah.
at that level. Um, the advanced battle where I'm working on right now with these guys and getting them up to on there. I am a tier 11 with infantry and my walkers
Okay.
on there. Still working on getting the rest of the ones up, but I needed to get them at least a tier 11, so I could actually equip the talent trees on them.
Yeah.
That's my biggest reason for playing a nemesis, but still needing to have like a tier 12, you know, T11 and T12 things unlocked for them. Um,
That makes
next
sense.
one, next one I'm working on is actually going to be my T12 walkers on there. It's probably going to be blue hunks. I have box troop void skaters just so I can run that power of walker on both of them and have that, and you know, have that ability there with just running T12s.
Fair. Fair.
Gosh,
All
for
right.
there.
Do you have any
Um,
talents? Yeah. You said mention talents. Let's take a look at your talents.
yeah, as far as talents go, I have everything at least unlocked
Okay.
on there all the way up. I haven't done anything with the core modules yet and working on them. I did get all these finished up. I am working on trying to get power shot leveled up more.
Okay.
It's just such a nice ability.
Yeah. Power shot is
Um,
really nice. Power shot's really nice.
it technically it turns every commander into a ramp up commander on there, and having that ability to have that ramp up damage to wipe slots out, but on any commander opens up so many more options and doors for counters that I can do against different players
Got you.
on there. Troop.
And yeah, go church. Yeah.
I was going
I'm
to say
interested
troop
in this.
wise, the easiest way to look at my troops is probably going to be just go to explore, choose a commander, and there's my troops. So
What?
this is what I mean about running a nemesis arc is this is all I need on there. I have my tier 1 troops for a bullet
Okay.
that I use for sending out countering on there. If I need to have that big one slot or everything else, I can. If I'm fighting walkers, I'll put one ranger in every single in slot, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then my big slot in slot 4 to get that
Yeah.
counter shot off with that one there. And then if I get killed, I lost three rangers. That's not that big of a thing to heal up. The tier 6 is across there for swing marches, just depending on what type of march I'm going against. I have that the abilities to counter. That's the same with the tier 12s, is if I need to have that slot 1 ability, slot 2, or 1, 2, 3 of like a tier 12, so I can have that dodge. So if they're using tier 12s and I'm running SWE, I don't have that chance of them running that 50%. I think it's either 50 or 60% hit chance if they're fighting one tier below.
It's 40.
So 40% chance. So that's one reason I have the tier 12s there, is if I need that slot 1, 2, and 3 and stuff to have a tier 12 in it when I'm running a SWE. And a lot of times it'll end up being, I'll send a troop out, I'll attack, and I'll start looking at your gear. I'll look at your gear, look at your gem slots that are on it, looking how you're setting this up, and then go, okay, this is the counter that I need to do that. And I'll reset out. And if they haven't pulled, well, usually at that point there, they usually get wiped out. But a lot of it's, they'll see a small, unless people are aware that, hey, that's a SWE march. That actually might get me. A lot of times it's like, I catch a lot of them that underestimate, and then I'll get a message like, what the hell did you do? I countered your troops. But I'm running tier 12 with Terror Space. Yeah, but you got to hit. And if you don't have any guaranteed hit abilities on, say, like Sister Wolf, doesn't matter that you're running full tier 12. If you miss me with all of your attacks, that Terror Space damage doesn't do a dang thing.
And that definitely comes back to something that we talked about in the group talk session is, proper march formations and knowing the counters and everything like that. So yeah, thank you.
Running a Nemesis arc in general is probably the biggest thing, is understanding your counters, understanding troops, gear. That's you're trying to be up to date with gear, what it can do, and then you're finding the ways to beat that gear.
So I got a question for you actually. As a Nemesis arc in today's current meta and everything like that, like are you frustrated right now? Are you trying to figure things out? What is making you like still fight hard as you do? Because I see your name quite often and everything like that. I see you be catching a lot of good things with that bullet, which is pretty impressive to be honest with you. So in this current meta, like, what are you planning to do to adapt to that meta?
I mean, a lot of the stuff, like this is one of the big hits that I got with against EXE and stuff like that.
Shit out of him.
And that was just just running T1s or just one slot.
Jesus. Damn it. Know your matchups, gentlemen.
But like here's a good example there. Like fighting against Judge.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just, whenever they drop new gear, I haven't looked into too much yet the new T12 talents and abilities and stuff and what that bonuses gives. Part of it's the frustratingness of like a good example on that one there. Broken Fortress came out.
Yeah.
That was a hard thing. Like, okay. All of a sudden my bullet with wings, I'm losing a lot more than I'm winning now, because all of a sudden, well, I'm not dealing any damage and I'm just getting cleared off. So, well, if I get it, okay, well, I can counter that because I can go second. They deal 0 damage, and then I can counter attack, and then I can. If I'm going second, then I can win a lot of my fights then, or at least deal damage to win in points cost.
Okay.
Then Formahald, I think that's how it's pronounced, came out, and that right there, honestly, is one of the biggest ones that's hurt me.
Because you're in the Broken Fortress.
That 10% true damage breakthrough, it's like, all right, I really don't know. I got to try to figure out how to counter this one here. And that, honestly, if they're running that and they're like not running Broken Fortress, or even if they are running Broken Fortress, Then it went back to, okay, how did I run Bullet before? And Bullet before was all about, when we talked about earlier, with the troop placement and knowing how to set up my Rangers or my other troops if I needed to counter. If I'm versing against a Walker commander and they're using blue hunks with the ability to have a shield. Obviously, if I put one Ranger in tier 1 in slot 1, they're going to kill it and they're going to get a huge shield that I'm not going to break through on there. But if I run an airship and I run my Bullet as like 600% dodge, there's a chance your first shot, you may wipe out on my attack first coming across. I may deal 0 damage to you because you're running Broken Fortress. Your counter shot coming back with an Awaken may wipe my slots 2 and 3, but you might miss my slots 1 on there. Which, if I'm thinking correct on that one there, it doesn't take the Awaken one. It only takes the initial damage off your first hit. So if you miss, but your Awaken is across, you do not get the full shield, I think. But along those lines of learning how to counter, like, okay, you've missed my slot 1, but I'm surviving. You've killed the other 2 slots, so now my slot 4 will come over and actually hit and deal damage on there.
Okay.
Even though you're running Formahalt and you've been able to come, you deal 10% damage through. Now I have to fight you as if Broken Fortress never existed, and then going back to my slot formations and my marches, then figuring out between there my Awakenings to counter against those opponents on there. And I'll admit, part of it too comes into luck. Fighting an airship. Did you get Awakening airship off? No? I have a chance.
Okay.
If you activated Awakening airship, well, I lost my troops on there. But running a Nemesis arc, I can send the same march to you 40 times and never touch my resources once in healing. And I can do that and get that that 5% chance of winning or dealing a bunch of damage out. And I can just do that over and over and over and not worry about it. To the point where I've annoyed you to the point where you've either exiled me away, or I got that 5% chance. All of a sudden, now you've lost 1,000 tier 12s. And it's like, well, yeah, that didn't cost me anything. And that was one of the biggest things about playing the Nemesis arcs and those abilities was the ability to not worry and being able to go, okay, with my guild mates that I have, I'm going to be the guy that can just throw stuff out, that can scout, that can be that punching bag that they don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
On there, whether it's taking, before 3-piece Sunraven, I was a lot of the guys. I'd send my troop out there. All right, well, I took their first hit away. Didn't worry me at all, and I was able to deal some damage on there. Or running tier 1, I could counter a lot of Kings and Iras because they worry about dodging. Well, when you're fighting against tier 1 with tier 11, you're going to hit. I can't dodge you.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I take away that their key abilities to be able to do that. Running Canes on my gear, well, I've stopped wings from activating on like your King. You've hit my troops, my slot 1. You've killed 3 Rangers because that's all I ran. Now I counterattacked you and I kill 1,000 tier 11.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
On there.
By the way, your screen is blurry. Just giving you a heads up.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Gotcha.
You want to reset?
Yeah, let me go back to Discord here and let me kick that back out. Come on, look at me. All right. Let me cancel that and I'll redo the reshare.
I'm trying to figure out how to pimp a Nemesis arc.
So the biggest thing
I'm trying to figure it out too.
I guess the biggest thing that would come with pimping and helping out with We kind of touched on that before. Would be gems on there. Like this is my primary gear set that I have here on my characters. My Sui set that I have, my default, like my Broken Fortress accuracy set. And I'll give a sec. I'll wait a second on here for people that have to reconnect back over if they need to. My tiers, my increasing skill activation damage set on there. My just basic straight out accuracy gear set and everything else, and then just combination and mixtures between different gear sets. I was working on a pen set at some point, but the gem was one of the big things that can hurt and make or break. And one thing you brought up was the Libra, like not using Libra on my Sui gear on there. Because you were saying with the when fighting Reinhardt's and having that pop around with the if I do counterattack and I hit and I haven't activated the steam cannon, all of a sudden I get a slot that's lost. And that could play into a very large reason why all of a sudden I'm losing a bunch of my fights against Reinhardt's.
Yeah, for Sweet Gear, it depends on how many slots you have available. Generally speaking, I have 3 Sweet sets,
Mhm.
and they all have the exact same gens. They're all geared for attack,
Mhm.
and they all have 4-set Gemini, 2-piece Libra, 2-piece Virgo. That's it. That's the basic, and then you get like 1 extra gem slot or something on the weapons, something like that.
Yeah,
That
I think
just throw.
I
But
have
if
3
you take
slots.
it,
Good.
if you take it past that, the next one you want is probably Andromeda. Other than that, there aren't that many useful sets for Sui specifically. Gemini is the only one that's for all troop types, so you're only like that's the only one you're going to get much use from.
Mhm.
Uh,
What do you think about Aquilus?
it's Walker specific.
But I'm using T11 infantry and I'm
That
using
does not count.
T11 walkers.
If you use walkers, it'll work fine. If you're
Mhm.
not using walkers, it will do nothing at all.
Okay, so it won't even activate with the T11 on there. Where T11 can normally activate walker skills, this one only works on walkers.
I haven't tested that, but I don't know.
Okay.
It says walk. It might. The thing about it is, generally speaking, it's not going to do much for a Sui set anyway, because you're already ramping damage with Sister Wolf or Hancock. The 10% skill itself is not enough to ramp on most other commanders.
Mhm. But would it ramp faster?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Depending
Okay.
on what you're targeting, it will make no difference. For example, Sister Wolf is either going to time out or it's going to kill a front row in timeout,
Mhm.
usually. And Hancock is either going to kill it all or he's going to get blocked by absolute defense.
Absolute defense on there. Or Cassiopeia.
Whether you ramp fast enough or not is irrelevant, especially when you're only using 1 troop per slot.
Mhm.
If you were using 80 a slot, it would make a difference, maybe. But when you're running 1 troop per slot, either you're going to kill it or you're not going to kill it. That 10% is going to make little to no difference. You could go
Okay.
for that. Not a bad one. I would probably go for Cassiopeia, though. For the, it'll just help versus other Hancock primarily.
Okay.
No,
And it blocks
no,
dual blade and whatnot.
Does Cassiopeia on Wolf reset her damage output from her ability?
Cassiopeia has, I don't know what you mean. That has nothing to do with anything. Cassiopeia
Oh, no,
blocks either.
I'm sorry. I was reading it wrong and stuff like that. The damage is the amount of damage. Let's see. The lost HP of the target, and everything else is what it was.
Right. Aquilius is basically the same thing as quick draw, not
Mhm.
quick draw, whichever one ramps. Quick draw, I think, except it's lower percentage. You could use that, but it's going to have less utility overall on a SWE set particularly, because you're going to only run the SWE set on basically Sister Wolf or Hancock. If you run it on anyone else, you're not going to ramp much damage. With Power Shot, you might, but it's not really all that effective, which is why Sister Wolf and Hancock. Plus, you already have Sister Wolf and Hancock, so you just shouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What would be another one then?
Screen got all blurry.
I guess.
again.
Of the options available, Canes for tier
Mhm.
suppression, I would probably run Canes because you get tier suppression from the 3-piece bonus. And tier 11 infantry are generally the most commonly used SWE troop
Mhm.
because they counter both air and infantry, which are the ones you need to counter the most with SWE. I would run Andromeda Canes, Gemini, 2-piece Virgo, 2-piece Libra if I was going to run one with 4
Okay.
gem slots. But that's assuming you get to 4 gem slots.
Yeah.
Before that, Andromeda would be the first set to get. For Bullet, I would do
Am I blurry
Pisces.
again?
Yes.
Let me reset it. Of course, the one time I tried this, everything does that.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it is. Let me go close that. Share my screen again. Okay.
No, it didn't take.
It went up and went right back down.
There it goes. So now it's counting down.
There we go.
Zombies aren't blue, by the way.
Zombies aren't blue?
No, they're red.
Yeah. Look, I've had, honestly, it was the name Fox from way back in like Nintendo 64. Star Fox is where I got the original name Fox from. And it has gone from like Blue Fox, Sniper Fox, Fire Fox, Zombie Fox. Just it's bouncing around from there.
We get it.
Yeah, bullet wise and stuff for now for their, if there was more gems that gave like accuracy on there that weren't, weapon only, I'd put more slots into him.
You should get more slots just to get the 3-piece Perseus for one.
I have one that I can put in for that one there, which will give me, I can do for the one more for the additional 30% accuracy.
Right, and you should probably put that on your ambition because you can get RWE gem there, I believe, from Perseus.
I can do that. I got one recently in that was it this event or last event where you spent 20,000 gold and got a gem on there for it, which was super nice because I just went to the mega slots and I got back like a bunch of gold, so I only spent like 5,000 gold and got one of the gems.
I'm actually kind of curious what your AIs look like.
Sure. I'm sorry, that was actually one of the ones I want to do. So, so currently my combat AI has been dumping everything into Pioneer for bullet on there. Everything else is just level 1 across, and that's just to increase his leadership and what he has.
Yeah, to be honest, if what you run is primarily SWE, I would probably switch that to longevity because Pioneer is the only one that activates in round 1, but it doesn't add anything at all to bullet, or really, it's a little bit useful for SWE sets, but when you're only running 1 troop per slot, it's not really.
Yeah.
Longevity is going to get more damage and accuracy for you.
The only problem I had on that one there was in general with longevity, and this is problem with running tier T1. I usually don't make it to round 2.
Oh yeah, no. Right, but that's the thing though, is you're doing most likely 0 to very little attack damage, anyways.
Oh, I got you. You
And
mean, well, in general, when running the SWE on that one, they're switching, like putting the longevity over on them for the increased.
right, like having your main AI be longevity because you don't have a straight up attack set. You don't have one, so Pioneer's not going to do anything for it.
I got you.
Longevity going to help your bullet aside from lead, but well, it might if you make it to round 2, but it probably won't. It's going to be the most useful for your SWE set and for
Yeah.
Sister Wolf versus Reinhardt, probably.
No, I got you on that one there. Yeah. So if I do run it, pull it off a bullet, put it on Sister Wolf for when I
Right.
run her out, and help her with that extra. That's a good idea. See, and you guys thought you weren't going to be able to help me pimp my arc.
Yeah, like other than that, really, I would definitely max your basic tech. I don't even if it's airships too, because that makes a significant difference with your box troops and whatnot, as well
Yeah.
as that you're planning on going to tier 12 walkers anyways, and you don't have your walker basic tech maxed. All your basic tech, like Nemesis arc or not, there's no reason not to do it.
Mhm.
So
And other than that, like really, you don't have any troops. Your gear, you're not working towards an attack set because you don't have any troops to use with it. There's
I
No,
not
was
that
Yeah, I was working towards a pen. I'll just put it up on him real fast.
right. The you don't really need a whole set for that because you're using half. Like you could just throw that with your fire spirits from Sister Wolf's gear,
Yeah.
and that's not really going to do anything at all until you get it to 40, 45 levels. So, eh.
Yeah, I mean it was one of those like, well, what else can I build up? And I was like, I could do a pen set and see what happens if I do that.
I would just do an attack. If you're not taking it to 40 plus, there's no point. I would just do an attack set. It's going to be more useful overall.
Yeah.
I'd do it attack dodge set with red. You got the red pupil there. If you get the red pupil, fire spirits, ambition, and 2 titans, that's a great utility set. You can throw it on Sister Wolf, you can throw it on Stella. It's good for endless. If you can get a dim light, speaking of which, that'd be a good piece to have
Okay.
because that does a lot for high damage with low troop count. It's another way to ramp damage. It's good for endless as well, which you probably need all the help you can get because you have no troops.
Yeah, endless. What did I get up to in endless? 145, 150 area. And usually at
Right.
that
Yeah.
point there, I usually hit like a Rogers, and then it's like, well, that's about as far as I go for that.
Yeah. That Devil's Touch and that Cassius Helm, you could probably eat both of those. They're useless to you. Whereas Red Pupil at least has some utility and it's not bad for bullet too.
Yeah.
the
And
Honestly,
I
bullet, I
personally
just go for.
recommend upgrading Black Knights past 30. I would rather, if since you're not really doing too much in the way of gear, you could probably get more ambitions because you don't have that much to focus on.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
the Black Knight was actually it was 35 before like I even got ambitions,
Right.
and then it was like, oh, there's a better one now that I don't need on there. So yeah, working with getting them leveled up more.
the
Yeah. See, you've got level 45 gear on that Sweet set, and Sweet gear is easy to get back. So technically, you could already have full pen
Mhm.
if you ever decided to build troops. In which case, Pioneer and Sweet, and you could get that full pen set if you wanted to run a 1 slot bust.
Okay.
Really, the only thing you can do from this point on it to upgrade is to switch mains and gear to a
Yeah.
1 slot bust. You don't really have any other options being Nemesis.
Yeah, which I depending of eventually when I get to tier 12 troops stuff like that, I may look into doing on there. I may look into switching something around to do more, be able to do more on that one there. And whether it is running like Ira or King or one of those ones there where I can, increase on it. Where's she at? Ira. There she is. Yeah, like running her on that one there.
Do you have any medals in World Event Shop?
I've spent the majority of mine right now, at least in World Event. I usually, as I gather them up, I'll usually end up spending them usually on the Awakenings.
What are your buildings at?
Everything's 22 minus the, what is it? The couple ones for research. So like the recycling station and that tree up and around just to the research lab, which is the one I'm working on now to get that up to 22. Everything else is 22 and the bridge is level 23 or 22.1, whatever they want to, Archivore wants to call it now.
Right. Yeah. I'd keep working, maxing your buildings, max your basic tech, and I'd probably work on hospital tech, like your basic resource development, advanced tech. For you, especially being a Nemesis arc, is going to be more useful to you since you're not building troops or using an army too much.
Everything that has to do with medical wise is maxed on there. So like medical equipment, everything that has to do with at least hospital wise is maxed out.
Right. Yeah, you should definitely max out your basic tech. That's like super cheap upgrades with
Yep.
massive value
Even
that you don't have up.
even the trainings is just, it's really good to have max.
Okay. I'll work on
Like,
getting
ignore the tier 8, max the rest of it.
Okay. I will work
Other
on that and start getting that leveled up.
Switch AI to longevity. Don't use full Libra. There's really not that much to say. You don't have an attack set or troops.
Yeah, I mean my attack set's just that basic.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, you got your sister set. You're not going to want a one slot bust with that. It's a utility set.
Yeah, which is what basic was designed for on that one. There was just that increased, trigger rate and everything else, and a little bit more attack power for when it does hit.
Yeah. So other than that, work on an ambition. Maybe upgrade that dim light and ditch the cheap pen set and ditch the Curious helm.
What is my
not
ambitions? Accolade, Tangled.
If you wanted something to work towards, maybe a sweet pen set. Since you're already in the 45 gear range, you could swap over easily enough. And even if you just run that on Sister Wolf, it's still going to be that's not a bad utility build once you get some tier 11 infantry behind it.
And that's doing the wild roses and stuff.
Right, that'd be wild roses and a preferably ruthless, but you could run quantum module.
Okay.
And assault pants.
Which I think I have assault pants.
Right, and it won't be hard. Yeah, it won't be hard to get back the pieces that you would eat from the Sui set either.
Okay. All right. Definitely some strong options there. Thank you.
Yeah, you still don't have any troops.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Like, yes, I know I don't have any troops, but you saw the one replay.
Yeah,
Right. But like, you got to keep in mind that doesn't hurt anybody. Like in GB, that is an expected loss. To be honest, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't bother putting any tier space troops or any other troops in that march. Steven's a bit weird sometimes. Like that doesn't hurt that particular kind of guy at all. Like that's like water under the bridge. It means nothing to him. He's huge. looks really good to you, and you're definitely trading up in points, but you're not actually hurting the enemy at all.
Okay.
Unless you're doing that 3, 4, 5 times in a row type deal all the time and don't get countered. Doing that in a GB match, that's just nothing. In Castatan, that would be significant if you ever got it, but you will never get it unless you find someone really dumb.
It's a rare hit on that one there. Usually the Castatan, at least this Castatan, no, I have not, because
Right.
we've mainly been running. Usually, I find I catch them a lot more when we end up being like the underdog guilds, and then you have a lot more of like the bigger players throwing out big marches to throw their weight around.
Yeah, if
I find
if
it
I
a
was
lot.
you,
I find it a
if you
lot
want
more.
to be active, I would work towards sweep pen, and I would start building up your meat wall and trying to keep at least a small tier 11 army, because
Okay.
you can run that, and you can still run you won't be Nemesis per se, but you're not going to have that many troops. You're going to be King, Ira, Sister Wolf, utility stuff still.
Yeah. How many troops do you think would be effective for on the tier 11 side?
It really depends on the enemy. 600? 600 will give you a solid 1 slot bust, or like you can fill 6 slots or 5 slots with one holder, depending on what you're trying to counter. That'll beat most of the Reinhardts if you build it right.
Okay.
The tier 2, tier 3 Reinhardts.
Okay.
You've got the suppression, you've got the sweep, you've got trigger rate gear. You can experiment with it. And if your hospital's maxed, which you said it was, and you're already level 22, you should be able to fit all of those in there anyways. And you ought to have a lot of meta, so you can probably heal that a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
You would have to look in the
Interloper.
parallel to find that.
There you
Yeah, dude,
420 million.
419. You
go.
could start 500, lose it 50 times, and still be fine.
Yeah.
It's
With paralleloper and with the energy quantum, whatever that thing is, it gives you half your troops back.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do your parallelopers look like? Is your paralleloper maxed?
Yeah. They're all maxed.
Yeah. Because you've got the tech power with tier 11, and you've got the right gear that you could run effective marches, but you don't have the leadership. You don't have the formation abilities because your troop count's so low. You could do more if you had more troops and
Okay.
still run it comparably Nemesis-ish. To be honest, Nemesis really just means you're not playing. You're playing, but you're not contributing in a manner that is going to significantly impact the battle.
I gotcha.
yeah, like
Okay.
the one really big hit that you get doesn't really make up for the 6 months that you're not doing anything, waiting for that next big hit.
No, and that does make sense. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Because like that's the big thing about Bullet these days, is because Bullet is kind of dead. You might catch a guy, you might, and you will trade up when you do, but then you're going to run into someone like me, and a Bullet does nothing to me at all and loses everything. You could hit me 30 times and you will not find a way to hit me with that bullet. And I'm sending 1 troop per slot. And every guild's going to have 3 or 4 guys like that. And if there's 3 or 4 guys like that in a gate, you're going to have a hard time effectively catching someone that you can actually trade against.
Yeah.
And that's
And
not going to contribute to the overall loss counter.
And that's just in cast. Like when you go to GB, you're like exponentially less useful. And it's primarily because you
Right.
don't have any troops.
You're,
Now,
you're
normally in
basically
GB itself, I'm usually arc hunting.
right, but you don't have the leadership either. You don't have the leadership / troops to full march to kill them. So you're not going to get all their SM. You're not going to get all their troops. You're just going to port an arc that one of your big guys could take 4 times as much from.
True. Usually it's just, it ends up causing this. I'm usually just going out and just causing the disruption. But I understand what you mean, though.
I mean,
Right,
that's
right. You could do that. You can cause disruption. That's probably the most useful thing you can do is cause disruption and hit tiles because they can't really do anything about it. Even if they hit you, it's not going to hurt you.
Mm.
You can do that all long, and that's good. But there's a point where that's not really all that useful. Like I barely even farm in cast. You could hit 30 of my tiles, and I
No,
still
no,
don't
I'm
care.
sorry. I'm talking Galactic Battle.
what's the same thing.
Oh yeah, in
In
Galactic
Galactic
Battle,
in,
you're
in Galactic Battle, I'm usually arc hunting. I'll usually
right.
bounce across and use gold, and then just
Well, that only works
arc
with
it and
so
stuff
many
like that.
guilds, though.
Yeah,
Like you won't get past the front line in a guild like EXE. You're just gonna bounce off the front.
Yeah.
If there's a wall, if they have a wall, if they don't have a wall, then arc hunting's not all that useful anyway because they're doing whatever.
You're just hitting
Mm.
rangers, and you're not big enough to take that many rangers. Like, even me, I'm small, and even when I get hit, I don't care, because I just insta-heal the rangers.
Well,
So,
the part in that one there isn't so much of like I'm working on killing troops. It's the bouncing an arc away, which automatically pulls your commander out of a cap
but the
Right.
that
problem
you're defending.
Yes. That
the better
that's
people
true,
you
but
play
like
against,
it's literally all that you can do because you don't have enough troops to do anything else. Is
I
the
gotcha.
point? It would Nemesis. It's a play style for sure, but
Mhm.
it's extremely limited. You can't win in All Star. You can't win effectively in Peak. You might do okay in something. You're not going to win an Ace. You're not going to go far in Endless Ace. So all the free stuff that you would be getting, you're not getting because you don't
More
have the gear or the troops to do so.
more or less at beginning at lower levels it is, but I need to evolve it if I want to sit in the higher end of the game now, where I'm getting to.
yeah,
Right. Like you can have fun
unfortunately,
being Nemesis card, but you're going to be stagnated where you're at. That's
Gotcha.
literally all you do.
Gotcha. I
I
definitely.
always,
I need to work on getting something else there that I can deal better with to actually assist the guild more.
I always
Yeah, like
advocate.
even if you do nothing with tier 12, if you just unlocked all 3 tier 11 infantry and you worked up a sweet pen build and throw it on all sorts of random shit and figure out how to kill things with it, like Sister Wolf, Ira, King,
Mhm.
Cassius, Golem, and throw sweet pen build out there with a significant enough tier 11 army, you can catch some things and be
Okay,
more useful.
I gotcha.
I always advocate that if you're gonna play like this Nemesis style, play it on an alt,
Mhm.
something that you don't really care about, because you do hit a
Right,
certain
because you don't
point.
need this. You don't need tech. You can get a maxed basic tech arc, throw a plus
Mhm.
40 squeeze set in there. Like you have 100, you have 200 mil power there that you don't need for what you're doing. You could do that with 30 mil power,
Yeah,
essentially.
which I did for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, if
The
you're
only, the
gonna,
only reason I actually jumped up on this one here is when they put in the new tech, when they also put the talent tree in. That
Yeah.
point
Oh,
there,
yeah.
it was like,
And
yeah, I want to
broken fortress.
increase.
I don't even have a broken fortress. Fuck
yeah,
you.
I mean I have a tiny ass alt that I mean, I guess I kind of play Nemesis like
Mhm.
once every 6 months when I'm bored. But I don't actively play it. It's just kind of sitting there. And if this
Mhm.
is your main arc, if you like that playstyle, I would say make an alt to have that playstyle. But you are putting significant amount of resources into this arc. Like Bane said,
Mhm.
Broken Fortress, talents. You've got a lot of leadership. I think
Focus it
if
into
you
something that I can actually be more effective with.
I like I think if you put a little bit of time into your arc and actually building up some troops, um, when you can get those bigger hits consistently, you're like, oh, this is way fucking better.
Okay. Uh, what do you think? Work with using Sister Wolf, or just
I
or having
mean,
like the Sister Wolf, having Ira.
honestly, right
Say what?
now, I you might be able to build a little bit of troops, like
Mhm.
T11, and keep with the Hancock, Sister Wolf, even Stella. Fucking Bane does an amazing job with Stella and very little troops. But I would personally say decide what you want to be, either Walker or infantry. Pick a main
Mhm.
and start slowly switching into that and get away from bullet. Because like you have a broken fortress, you have gear,
Yeah.
and you have leadership. You just have no
Yep,
troops.
I can easily just switch it around for something else if I need to for them. So, all right, I can work with that.
Right. Like I ran bullet for a while back when I started, and I switched it to like a utility comm for farming, and it just stopped being of any real use. Like any infantry commander, if they're awakened 600% dodge and have basic tier 12 tech, you will not hit them. It does not matter how much accuracy you have, you will not hit them with tier 1. Any infantry commander. If they're running vulnerability detection and precise strike, you will not block them with the broken fortress. And there's literally no infantry that doesn't have either one or the other of those in conjunction a formal line.
Yeah.
So any infantry you're not doing anything to. And 3/4 of the gaming community, probably all the small guys, are infantry right now, or should be. And the
Yeah.
rest are airships with Formalot.
Yeah, the rest are Reinhardt players.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
that, which your bullet will bounce off of. And
He absolutely does every time. I'm like, cool, look, I killed, 1,000 or 3,000 airships, and then I died.
Like my advice to you would be
Mhm.
make an alt, so because you already know how to play Nemesis, so make an alt because you like that playstyle. Figure out what you want to be as your main, and you have pretty much. I mean, you have to do the basic tech, but you've got some good advanced tech. You've got some good gear. Pick a main, save up resources, and then wait for a 2x event and just swap everything at once.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll work on figuring out some different mains and figure out which one I kind of want to work with, and I might just do that.
I think you'll have a lot more fun.
And when you Pioneer will be better than longevity for that.
In that regard.
In that regard, right.
Okay. Just for that initial damage increase, stuff like that when it comes in off of there. So, all right.
Boss can be more useful. And you could always push longevity up to like level 30.
Mhm.
Since you're already close to level 70 on your Pioneer, I would stop at level 70, then work on longevity to 30, and then keep pushing Pioneer.
Okay.
That way you'll at least have 2 useful AIs. Because you've got the tech and the gear, you got the gear and the stuff to run 2 commanders at once.
Yeah. All right. I dig it.
Yeah, at some point when you have the tech in like Broken Fortress, like it's time to kind of pick a main other than bullet and step up and
Yeah.
be a
It's
little
time
bit.
to realize
Yeah.
that okay, now I'm stepping into the big game now, and I need to do something for the big game.
And you can always
Okay.
make an
The
alt
main-
and have fun with a nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah. The main thing you're going to have to do, though, is you're going to start working on your meat shield before you can train troops. Otherwise, you'll just lose them all.
Oh yeah,
Like-
no. When it comes to that one there, then it will be, building up the meat wall, actually collecting all the mail that I have of 999 shadow matter and building up that shadow matter wall.
Right.
Yeah, and you can build a bunch
then
of
I'll actually-
rangers during cast. That's a good time to build rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dang, I'm gonna have to
too.
start using shield again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rip.
but
Yeah.
keep it.
I'm on this game, and I bounce on the game so much during a day that there's never a time when I'm like, when I have to run a shield or when I am running a shield, I'm never on the point where I'm like, did I put it for long enough? No, I'm usually like, okay, an 8-hour shield, cool. In like half an hour, I'm back on checking and seeing things and collecting
Yeah.
resources. So it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I got hit once this cast, and I made it all back in various ways that didn't even hurt.
I got you.
I mean, and the best case scenario, right, is
Mhm.
let's say you do all of this and you don't like it, you can always just get hit and go back to Nemesis. Like that,
And that's the great thing
you can
about that.
always
It's
go
like, well,
back.
that didn't work.
If you really don't like it, you can always go back.
No, but I think, and it's something I have been kind of tossing around now and then of like, do I start putting forth the effort into actually being better at this game or not?
Yeah, if I was you, I would. You had the gear levels between bullet and your sweet set that you could make all 45 sweet pen set. If I was you, I'd work on getting a ruthless over everything else because that trigger rate's going to help you a lot with things like Reinhardt for your utility use. You don't need it to make a sweet pen set. You can use a quantum module, but that trigger rate's going to be huge if you want to run more utility builds.
What was the ruthless? Ruthless was
Helm,
Down, down,
Yeah, I'll just do them.
jewelry,
the orange one.
all the way to the right.
Under lucky
Orange.
nodding.
No, all the way to the right. Down.
Down, that one.
Okay. Okay. Now, would it be worth it better to pick up would to get the ruthless, or would it work better to get the formal?
If you're running sweet pen, definitely ruthless. Like Formula requires commitment to an all 50 gear set and whatnot, generally speaking. Otherwise, it's just gonna be you can throw it on an attack set, but it's not worth the cost, generally speaking.
Okay.
Like a Gilly running it with Fire Spirits, Void, 2 Titans, and a Formula, that's a decent build. If you want cheap for an attack build, that's not bad. But overall, you don't need that damage reduction ignore if you're running sweet pen
The sweet pen.
on Ira and King, you'll already ignore damage reduction assuming you miss.
Mhm.
And on Sister Wolf, you'll be using it against things like Reinhardt where it won't matter by the time you get to round 2. Your objective is to trigger Steam Cannon and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Formalot is more for a straight up one slot bust commander like Gilly or Puppet or
Okay.
less utility, more straight up one slot bust.
Gotcha.
Also, sweep
Because you can
pen.
get doesn't hurt, but you don't really need one.
Yeah.
Also, if you go with sweep pen, you can use that on Ira, Sister Wolf, Hancock, Stella. You can use it on a bunch of different things.
The ruthless.
Yeah, you can use it on a
Yeah.
bunch of different stuff.
Okay.
Nothing from the way you play right now.
Mhm.
Nothing. It'll play exactly like your sweet set, just lower sweet, but higher damage.
Gotcha.
Which you need troops for.
And more
Yeah.
troops and buster as well.
All right. That'll work. I thank you.
All right. Well, do you have any other questions?
No, you guys pretty much helped me on that one there, which one of the questions was where do I go from here? And no, pretty much hit that on the head.
Yeah, I mean, you can stay the way you're doing it now. I personally would recommend you build up some more troops, switch your main, but I mean, ultimately it's your arc, it's your decision.
Yeah.
But either way you want to go, like it's possible.
No, definitely on that one there. It's at this point with it being in a bigger guild and stuff like that, I need to work on something more that I can use to help actually assist my guild.
That sweep pen has a very niche, role and everything. I mean, you get lucky and catch a lot of blacks with no RWEs and murder a lot of shit with it, man. So I think that's a good option for you to work towards. I would definitely go for a ruthless either way. Because
No, I'll definitely work on getting the ruthless.
Yeah, ruthless either way. Even if you decide not to do it and you decide to stay nemesis, the ruthless either way would still help you because I mean you get trigger rate sweet. So I mean,
yep,
that's not. So I mean,
yeah,
it's
the natural upgrade. It's the natural upgrade to your lucky nodding on Sister Wolf anyway for that build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that damage reduction does nothing.
Yeah. Awesome. No,
That's what I
I'm
would
good.
do.
I'm good with with other questions about that. And honestly, if I have them, I'll just ask you guys in Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can always always reach out to us, everything like that. So for sure.
And if you ever
I'm gonna
get,
thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on, Zombie, for real, man. It's been a
No, I appreciate
pleasure.
it. And stuff.
Oh yeah.
it's been a different Pimp My Arc, definitely.
It has been.
The Nemesis
Get
concept.
Grinch all the views with this episode.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and one of the
For Grinch.
one of the perks of doing this, is you can always refer back, 6 months down the road if you're confused on what we said. Yeah, I definitely do appreciate you reaching out, letting us do this Pimp My Arc. I think you got a couple different directions you can go. I think you're good for now. Decide what you want to do and then just take it from there.
Record, I am never confusing.
Never.
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 No, but I'll be able to talk with the guild, see what I can do, run a bunch of simulations, and start figuring out which one works well for me.
Yeah, and talking with your guild, what do they need? Maybe that'll help you decide.
Yeah. On there, so that way next time we fight EXE and stuff, I can hunt for Grinch.
Hey, bring it. I would love to fight you.
Doesn't matter what you do, I'll still kick your ass.
That's fine. As long as I get Grinch, I'm happy.
It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
So never say never. I've had a lot of people say that. And I got them.
Never, ever, never, 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 ever.
Maybe I'll make a visit to you guys' server and catch you one day when your shield drops.
My shield never drops.
Don't bother me. Go away. But feel free to hit LKS all you want. That
Oh
is
my God.
very welcome.
Oh Jesus.
No. Thank you very much, guys, for this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, ZombieFox, Neva, Bane. Until we got one more Pimp Mark to do. So until next time, I'm the Grinch, and we're out.